Hey internet, so I wanted to make another quick video. Basically, my therapy canceled on me today, and I thought I should probably do something productive instead of spiraling. So I thought in this video, it's probably going to be very short. We're going to adjust the skunks that I created previously, and we're going to fix their aggression because currently they basically will attack you for no reason. Obviously, this is not desirable. Most skunks in real life would prefer to avoid you rather than engaging and attacking with you. They're not particularly aggressive creatures, and they're not particularly strong creatures. They don't have a lot of teeth and fangs sort of thing going on. In fact, their most notable defense mechanism, of course, is their skunk spray, which they are limited in their uses. So if they were too aggressive, then that kind of is rendered pointless because they can only squirt a few times anyway. So, I mean, in real life, in the game, they can squirt basically infinitely because there's no way for me to cap that. But yeah, so I think the product of this, so I added skunks like a week ago. You know, we talked about that a little bit in a previous video. So here I have this skunk entry in Notepad++. We're just going to have a look here. Now, unfortunately, in order to get them to spray, I had to raise their aggression. So here I have an aggression note. No matter what anger triggers I gave the skunk, they would never spray. I had to raise their aggression. It's not a perfect solution, but don't lower their aggression or they won't spray anymore. And unfortunately, apparently 15 aggression, which is what I gave them. So for example, this was based on the possums in the game, which have, I believe, a negative 99 aggression. So they basically will never attack you no matter what. And that didn't make sense to me. I think that animals in general should have some sort of defense if they were put in a corner, right? We have a flag called cornered fighter, and this is basically if you're injuring something and its instinct is to run away, then when you corner it and it has nowhere to go, then it will become hostile and attack you. So that's a really good flag to have on basically every creature. However, I don't think that should be the only circumstance in which a normal animal attacks you. I think that if they're injured or if they are they watch another skunk get killed nearby or something like that, I feel like they should be aggressive. However, I talked to, who was this? This was Carol. We talked on Discord a little bit, and they said, I have it on my other monitor here. I said, the PR was merged, so I never have to think about them again, which was a joke. Obviously, I'm going to try to fix this. Carol pointed out that they were driving and a skunk persistently followed and attacked their vehicle. And it didn't really make sense, right? Obviously, that normal animal would not do this. Carol said, "Are you aware that your skunks hate every living and dead thing that moves, by the way?" And I said, nope, I merged the PR yesterday and I just don't think about it anymore. Or not yesterday, sorry. They say, chase my car until I turn around, hit them with it, and then they fly away for a moment, giving me time to get away. So apparently as well, because they're a small creature, they don't get damaged by vehicles, which is very strange. Apparently they just bounce off unharmed, which I don't know why that is, but I mean, someone pointed out the code for it in the Discord, but like I don't know why we chose to have that happen. Obviously, if you hit like a bird, oh, is my neighbor gonna weed whack? The one time I chose to record in the last like week and a half. All right, well, let's see how that goes. So their aggression is 15, which means they go out of their way to attack anything they see that isn't in their friendly faction. And I said, what's an aggression that would make them passive, but then become hostile when they're attacked or approached? Carol suggested 7, saying that, okay, weed whacking right outside the window. I guess we're going to pause this video for like 40 minutes because he takes forever to weed whack. So, okay, this is a great experience. Okay, so the recommended aggression was like 7. Basically, they said that anything under 10 is not going to attack you unless they become hostile because of their aggression triggers. And each aggression trigger raises it by like 5, and then once they get up to like 15, they're going to start being hostile. So what we want to do here in the files, I thought I would just show people, like, this is what the JSON looks like, or I say Jason, but people correct me all this weed whacker. Come on, man. Okay, so the neighbor's been weed whacking for about 40 minutes. He seems to start and stop it every about 10 seconds, and I've decided I'm just going to record in the quiet bits here. So I just wanted to show people what the JSON looks like, or the JSON, depending on who you ask, you know, how to say it, whatever, because it's not intimidating. And I hear a lot of people say like, hey, I want to contribute, but I don't know how to code or whatever. That's why we have Jason. It's very moddable, it's very readable text. You can do it, you just have to try. And in fact, in this situation, I actually messed something up. I made these skunks and I made them too aggressive, and it's not a big deal. For a few days, yes, people are being attacked by skunks, but then someone in the community brought it to my attention, and I'm going to do my best to rein it in. It's not a big deal. You're going to make mistakes, and no one cares. It's okay. Okay, so based on my conversation with Carol, which I don't remember how much I read because of the, the weed whacking, but we want to lower the aggression, first of all, to like 7, probably. If each of these increments, which I didn't know any of this, right? This is me not understanding the file here, and then someone bringing it to my attention and me learning and trying to fix it. Because according to Carol, all of these anger triggers actually increase the aggression by 5, and once we go from like 7 to 12, it'll actually make that animal aggressive until something else changes. So the anger triggers here are friend attacked and hurt, and what these mean is that even if it's a neutral creature, when it gets any other skunk in vision radius gets attacked or killed or whatever, it's actually going to raise its aggression and make it more likely to attack the player. So we see this with lots of animals. If you're like coming across a dog pack and you attack one of the dogs, the other dogs will possibly flip and become hostile, and they would all attack you as a group, which is pretty, typical. You would expect to see that, I guess. And then the other one is hurt, which is related to the character themselves. So if the actual creature gets hurt, it increases its aggression. It's more likely to fight back. And then we have fear triggers, which what these do is make it so that anytime this is called player close, whenever the player gets close to the creature, its instinct becomes to run away. So instead of standing still in place, it will actually flee away from the character. Now I would like to preserve that because I do think skunks would run from a human, but I think what we're going to do is actually change that to the aggression trigger. So basically what I think is going to happen here is that the player can basically anytime you get close to these creatures, if we're at an aggression of 7 and say you approach it, this, I guess, sounds like he switched to the lawnmower now. I'm just going to see how much of this I can cut out in editing as he gets further away from the window. I'm so sorry this video fell apart. I've been so depressed, and I was like, today my therapy canceled on me, and I really needed therapy today, and I had all this time left now, and I didn't know what to do. So I was like, let's make a quick and easy video. And then of course my neighbor now has been, how long? It's been like 70 minutes of lawn care right outside my window that I don't even know if you can hear it or not. So we're just going to plow forward. So the aggression here is 7. So I'm thinking, okay, the player gets close, that increases its anger essentially and flips it to 12. That might make it hostile. It might not make it hostile. I think it depends on kind of the other circumstances of what's going on. And then if you were to attack it, that would then raise its aggression to 17, which would become hostile. So I think that's what we're going to do here. We're going to get rid of fear triggers. I don't know that skunks are actually afraid of humans. I see them sometimes for work. I see them, they're crossing the road or whatever in the middle of the night. They don't seem afraid of the vehicle. They don't seem like if I come across a possum will run away when I get close to it. Foxes as well. If you get near a fox, it's going to bolt like every single time. But skunks really seem like they're just plodding along in life. They have pretty notoriously poor vision in general and navigate mostly by scent and hearing. So I don't know that they're even that concerned about humans. And then of course, and people like to think like, well, if I come across a skunk, it's going to immediately spray me. That's actually not the case. It's really only if you threaten them or get close to them. Like they'll raise their tail, clearly telegraphing that they're going to do it. And then they don't do it unless you continue to bother them. So if you leave them alone, they leave you alone. But if you try to get close to one, you try to hurt one, then it should become hostile. I think most likely it would run away. But if I set it to run away, like if you attacked a skunk in real life, I think they would run away. But if I set it up to do that in the game, then it never triggers its skunk spray because we don't have a way to trigger defensive abilities. So if I set up all this stuff, and it took me forever to do the skunk spray, I needed a lot of help because I don't know the spell system. If I set that up and I just set them to run away, they will never use this defensively. They only use it when they're aggressive. So unfortunately, I can't make them run away when they're hurt or attacked or whatever, because then they would just run away and all of this work for the skunk spray, which is like the one thing that skunks are known for, would not work. So have to kind of make them aggressive. So I think we're going to change all of those to anger triggers. I don't know if that's the right decision or not, but that's what I'm going to do. And if someone complains or points out that it's a mistake, I'll just change it again in the future. And they do have the cornered fighter flag, which I think we talked about at the top of the video. So even if it's not aggressive and it would flee, say you attack it and it gets low HP, then it will run away. That's very standard for creatures. If that happens and you corner it, it will turn and fight you despite being cornered. So you're going to get sprayed in that context as well. And I think for now this is okay. It's not good. I wish there was a way for us to trigger defensive abilities instead of just aggressive spells. I do wish I could have this skunk squirt as a defensive mechanism instead of an aggressive mechanism, but since that doesn't seem possible, I think we're just gonna call that there. I'm gonna submit that PR. I'm gonna test it. Obviously I'm gonna test it in the game here, but I think that's adequate for now. So here I've loaded up my test save, which I've been using to test all the changes I've been working on. I think this was for snow cones, which I've added to the game, by the way. So if you're interested in in having snow cones, that I believe was merged yesterday. So we have snow cones now. If we have a look, they inherit their calories and stuff from whatever beverage you use to craft them. This is not really the point of this video, but here, and the typo is just in my files. It's not actually in the game yet, or rather the typo was corrected before it was merged to the game. And then I was going to work on adding alcoholic snow cones as well, but currently this is just literally ice and liquor, which is not a snow cone. So this is just a work in progress. Ignore that. This is the one that I just added, which lets you use soda or different teas or whatever to flavor a snow cone, but that's not the point of this video. But anyway, this is my test save, so let's spawn the old skunk here. Skunk, spawn a skunk. Actually, we're probably too close. It might flip to hostile immediately. It did not. Okay, so here we have this creature. It did not spray us. It is running away, which is, I guess, to be expected. Did I not save the file? They only have a vision radius of 9 tiles, so here it, I guess, it's just migrating, but let's run close to it and see when it flips to being hostile. It did not flip to being hostile. I've even hit it twice. Now it's hostile. Skunk raises its tail and squirts. You dodge the skunk. So I don't like this. Let's go back to walking and let's get rid of all the creatures nearby. So we go map. Is it under map? Kill all monsters. Okay, so we got sprayed, which is fine. How long does, we don't know how long it lasts. I would have to check in the debug menu. So I think that that's not ideal, because a player using a melee weapon, once you come, they only have 12 HP. So if you came up and hit it once, it would become dead with the majority of weapons in the game. Or that players would be using anyway. So I don't think it's ideal for them to not become hostile immediately. I don't know how to fix this. So you're close to me, you're tagged as hostile, but you're not actually hostile. So if I move closer, you'll flip to fleeing. But, oh, there it pivoted. Okay, you dodge the skunk, raises its tail and squirts, you kick the skunk. So before I hit it, it actually did turn and become hostile, and then it flipped back to non-hostile. So I think what's happening is that its aggression is getting raised whenever I move close to it. But then that see, it flipped to hostile. But if I wait a few turns, 2, 3, after about 2 or 3 turns, it pivots back to non-hostile. So if we teleport close again, it should bump back to hostile. So again, not an ideal solution, but it's something. It's better than the previous version, which is they were just hostile all the time, which is obviously not what we want. So this is not perfect because, you know, in these circumstances, when you get close enough to the creature to hit it, even the dogs now are going, if you even get close enough to hit the creature with a melee weapon, you will kill it in one stroke. Most likely they're not particularly like dodgy creatures, or they're not very tiny that makes them hard to hit or anything like that. So most circumstances a player would be able to approach and destroy this creature before it sprayed them, but this is better. this is better than it was. And then the hostility breaks once we kind of pass a few turns or we get away from it. I guess that's adequate. So we're gonna, I'll push this change to the game and update skunks so that they're a little less hostile. This episode kind of became a shit show. I'm really sorry about that. My neighbor for a long time with the weed whacking and mowing and stuff and the dogs barking. It's always like that around here. So hopefully you enjoyed this look into kind of what we do a little bit in the JSON. And I know I didn't do very much. These were, little changes. I changed one number and like one flag around, but it's that little tweak stuff. This is the follow-up, right? The initial PR was a ton of work. It took me hours to figure out the spell system, even with Guardian helping me on Discord. And this was just the follow-up. And I wanted to show people, like, because people tell me all the time, they're like, well, what if I add something to the game and I make a mistake or I mess something up or I break the game or whatever? Most likely any mistake you make is probably not going to destroy the game if you're testing it and you're seeing that there's no errors or clear like major issues. If you're just working in JSON, which is just text, it's not a scary thing at all. You are very unlikely to completely break the game, and if you did something that would completely break the game, probably someone's going to catch it before it even gets merged. And then if you do merge something like I did and you made a mistake and people come out and say, hey, actually these creatures are hostile all the time, this doesn't seem right, then you can just go back and tweak things. No one's going to be mad at you. No one's going to yell at you. It's not like that. So again, just trying lately. I've been working a lot on Cataclysm stuff. Actually, I fell off with it for the last few days as my depression really kicked up another notch. But during my hyperfixation, I've been working on the game a lot, and I just want to keep encouraging people because I know a lot of you watch this who, I know we have contributors and devs who watch these videos, but we also have players who would like to add their favorite thing to the game that we don't have, but they feel so intimidated, they feel so scared. Just come to the dev Discord, just ask some questions, people will help you, and you're not going to make a mistake so huge that it ruins the game. So I just wanted to encourage you, show you a little bit of, honestly, just not very much, I guess, in hindsight. This is probably going to be a short video, but yeah, that's just keeping the channel alive with a video now and then. So everyone, thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed. I'm going to go get some boneless buffalo wings to try and combat my depression with a little bit of tasty food, and I'll be back hopefully in the near future with some more content, and I love you. I'll see you next time.